Good morning, everyone. I think I have you all on mute possibly, which is fine. You guys should be able to unmute yourself to ask questions. Um, but I just want to make sure that you all can hear me. If you guys are not able to unmute yourself, go ahead and put something in the chat. Let me open up my chat here. Is anybody hearing me?
I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Perfect.
I can hear you.
Just wanted to make sure because I've had some problems with my mic this week, so thank the Lord we're up and running. All right, so this training that we're gonna do is very just basic setup. So there's some of you that may have gone through this before. Some of the setup stuff you probably have already done, but we do have some brand new agents in here. Russ Vance, Andy Miller, who just joined. So welcome you guys. Let's see, am I missing any other new people? Don't think so. So thank you guys for being here. I put together this training, like I said, to just do some basic setup and then show you the basic functionality and just kind of getting started in kvCORE. All of you should have received the handout that I sent earlier this morning. The front looks like this. I'm going to give you, if you want to dive in deeper, some homework today, just to give you some direction on what to do next after this training. And if you did not receive that, you can just email me afterwards and I will be sure to send it to you. So there is a lot that kvCORE can do, and as most of you know, you can spend hours and hours playing around with all the different things to do in there. kvCORE is Remax's CRM website. That's the gist of it, but then there's also a design center where you can create marketing materials. Your website, like I said, there's different tools where you can create CMAs and do listing presentations. And I could go on and on about all the things that it can do. So I wanted to create this basic training to give you just a little overview of it, of where to get started. And then next week, next Friday, I'm going to do a more advanced training that will bring you through all of the main featured tools and show you all the capabilities. Now, I think when you're working with kvCORE, you really want to focus on getting all of your contacts imported, everybody in the correct statuses. kvCORE has a lot of automation that you can definitely take advantage of as long as you have everybody in the correct status, whether they're a buyer or seller, whether they're active, closed, a prospect, sphere of influence. So I'm going to cover all of that today. Now, the very first thing that we want to do is actually log into remax.net or Max Center. It's up to you guys if you want to follow along right now and do all of this stuff, or if you just want to sit back and observe and take notes, that's completely up to you. But you'll want to, like I said, go to remax.net. That is how you access kvCORE. Remax.net or Max Center has all of the Remax tools, referral center, different resources, and that is where kvCORE is housed. I also should clarify that the technical Remax branded name of kvCORE is Max Tech. I should be in the habit of calling it Max Tech, but you're probably just going to hear me call it kvCORE throughout this training like I already have been. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So you guys should be able to see that. I'm going to try to keep an eye on the chat as well. for any questions that you guys want to pop in there. If I miss it, you can unmute yourself and let me know, but we'll get going here. So starting in Mac Center, there's a few things that if you're brand new especially, you'll want to update in your Mac Center profile. That is up here in the top right corner where it says hello, your name or your picture. And you're going to click on that and we're going to go to update profile. Agents that have been here for a while, you may want to just double check this section as well. There might be a couple things that you missed in the initial training that you attended. So just a couple things to touch on in here. Whatever we put in this profile filters out into all of the Remax tools, and one of those being the kvCORE system. So things like your picture, your bio, all that good stuff. So you should land on this profile overview page, and you may or may not have a picture in there. If you don't, you can upload your photo here on the left by clicking on the photo tab. Any contact information that you want to add, make sure your cell phone number is in there, obviously. For the contact info, you do want to make sure that your phone is labeled mobile cell. Some of you might have a couple different numbers in there, such as an office number. You can add different numbers, but just make sure that you definitely have your cell phone in there labeled mobile cell, because that is what will primarily display onto your Remax website. So just want to make sure your photo and contact information is updated. Also in this section, you can add links to your social media. So example here is we have our Facebook linked. You can also add different outside links as well, but maybe you have a LinkedIn that you want to add, an Instagram that you want to add, and these will also display on your kvCORE/Remax website. You don't have to put anything there, but it'll just display and lead people onto your social media if you prefer to have that. Another thing that I want to point out under personal details here on the left is the personal bio. Now there's all these different things that you can add, such as your educational background or hobbies. Those will all display on your website. But the bio, it currently displays just a generic Remax bio. So it is already set up and going for you, but if you want to personalize your bio on your website, this is where you're going to have to add that in. So you can edit your bio. I would just make a note to come back to that later if you don't already have one written, and or you can just leave it at the generic Remax one too, because that one works fine. All right, so photo, contact information, and bio. Honestly, you can just go down through these tabs to add everything. I'm going to jump back over to the profile overview, and I believe under, okay, yes, I'm jumping around a lot. I apologize if I'm losing you guys, let me know. Under general info, this name and title section. All of you currently, your Remax websites right now will display your name at the top and then a title, which is defaulted to say associate. If you want to display like realtor or real estate agent, broker, whatever you would like to call yourself, that is going to be under this name and title section. You'll have to click the edit button and scroll all the way down to the bottom here and find job title. And that's where you can import realtor, real estate agent, whatever you might want to call yourself. So I would be sure to update that if you would like to. Again, that's under general info, name and title. Looking at my notes here, make sure I'm not missing anything. I think we're good to go. Now, there are some more things that you'll want to add in the kvCORE section, but as far as the Mac Center profile, it's just contact info, photo, bio, and then your job title. All right, so if once you guys are done updating any of that information, you can click the Return to Mac Center button up at the top right corner. And that will redirect you. Apparently I have been logged out, so we're gonna log back in. Alrighty, does anybody have questions at all about the Mac Center profile or any information that you might need to update in there? Okay. So for newer agents, you may or may not have to click into the apps and tools section. Some of you might have the kvCORE tab right here. It is titled Platform Max Tech powered by kvCORE. If you don't see it on your dashboard, just go into apps and tools and you should be able to find the platform Max Tech powered by kvCORE, or you can even use the search bar to find the tool there as well. So we're gonna open this up. And I'm just gonna show you guys some basic navigation in here where we're gonna do a little more setup. All right, so this is your dashboard. And some of my buttons might look a little bit different than yours because I'm a company admin, but for the most part, throughout this training, you're gonna see the same things that I do. kvCORE will give you reminders to contact new leads, contact anybody that needs to be contacted, and all of your recent activity is going to show up on your dashboard here. So brand new leads will come in, any new messages. Now you should be getting emails or texts with those notifications as well. But kvCORE is going to remind you, hey, you need to call this person today, follow up with this person. And that all has to do with the smart campaigns that kvCORE has in place. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But all of your activity will be here. You'll have the today's objective. So a lot of times, like if you don't know what exactly you need to be doing in kvCORE, but you want to dive into something, the objectives is good to look at, or the playbooks. The playbooks are really great to start kind of learning all of the tools in kvCORE. It gives you different goals and then actions to take to meet those goals. So if you want to promote a listing, the playbook will show you different things that you can do to promote your listing. If you want to gather your sphere, import people into kvCORE, there's a playbook for that. Or if you want to interact and communicate with your people, you can also use the Work Your Sphere playbook. So that's some options. There's also kvCORE training from kvCORE themselves. The Agent Quick Start, I even have that highlighted on the handout that I emailed you guys today. That training is so good. It's how I learned kvCORE, and it just takes it section by section with short little videos. So those links are there. They always have live trainings as well. And then they have webinars from Remax as well. Now, you can always come to me for training. I've made a ton of short little videos called bite-sized tips. A lot of you are probably already familiar with those. I have the link to those in every weekly newsletter. I feature one of the videos with a link to view the whole playlist. So after today's training, if you get super excited and want to dive in more, you can check out those videos as well, because I have a video for each feature, short and sweet, where you can learn about what each tool does. Up at the top, we have some other navigation here. You can, of course, add contacts individually. For brand new agents, there is a bulk import feature that I highly suggest, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit later. Quick actions where you can quickly log a call, add a task for yourself, send an email, and then we have linked some agent resources in here as well. This little tiny envelope icon up at the very top, this will allow you to connect your Gmail or your Outlook email if you want to integrate the two. If you do that, all of your emails that have correspondence with anyone in your contacts, it will log those emails for you. So when you're emailing, say in your Gmail, someone that's in your kvCORE contacts, it'll recognize that and put it in your communication log. You can also connect your email contacts. If your contacts are organized enough, that would be great. Otherwise, if it's just a mess and have like a bunch of realtors and vendors and stuff in there, I wouldn't necessarily suggest doing that. But just know it is an option. When you click on Gmail or Outlook, you can also sync your contacts as well. This very far right tab with your name on it, if you click on that, that's going to give you a couple different options. The first one being this phone number. Not all of you are going to see the phone number that I see. Each RE/MAX results office has its own what they call smart number. So this smart number that you're seeing on my screen is for Fort Wayne North. So Fort Wayne Southwest has their own, Angola has their own, Goshen, Warsaw, they all have their own numbers. This number is what routes your leads to you. So right now, go ahead, if you have your screen up, if you don't, make a note of this. Click on your name in the top right corner and add whatever number shows underneath your name. Add that into your phone contacts as RE/MAX lead, a bunch of dollar signs, whatever you want to name it. So you identify that if that number ever calls you or texts you, you know that has to do with getting a company lead or someone contacting you about a property. So I would definitely add that to your phone contacts. And then underneath has your remax.net email. While you're adding that to your phone contacts, I'll just tell you guys the remax.net email. I know not everybody uses that. It does not have a physical inbox for the new people, but whoever emails your remax.net email, the emails will always forward on to your personal email, and then you can then respond from your personal email as well. I do want to point out that when you send emails from kvCORE, it does come from your remax.net email. Now there is an option to change this for your emails. When you send out of kvCORE, you can make it come from your personal email. However, I would highly recommend not doing that because the big systems like Gmail, Outlook, all these big email systems recognize that even though it's coming from, say, your personal Gmail, it's coming from a third-party system, and it really tends to mark those as spam. Whereas the remax.net emails are whitelisted among all the big platforms in order to go to everybody's inbox. So I highly suggest just leaving it to come from your RE/MAX email. They have your name in there. Most people are going to know it's you, regardless of if they're used to seeing that email or not. So for the sake of it getting to your clients' inboxes, I would just leave that email the way it is. Now, another thing to note down below under the email is your RE/MAX website URL. So you can actually click on that and it will lead to your personal agent website, and you can see what it looks like if you don't know already. And if you own a domain name, say something like Hannah Hahn Sells Homes, and you want it to lead to your RE/MAX website, that is the URL that you will want to point your domain name to. Some of that can get tricky sometimes depending on the system that you use. GoDaddy makes it super easy, but if you guys do need help pointing a domain name to your RE/MAX website, just let me know afterwards and I can help you out with that. All right, so that alone was a lot of information. If you guys have questions now, let me know. And then if not, we can move on to the My Profile section for a little bit more setup. All right. So let's go into the My Profile section. And this section, so everything that we just set up in the Mac Center profile will filter over to this section. Now, if you see like a phone number or social media that you just added into Mac Center, I would give it about 30 minutes or so for it to filter over here if you don't see it yet. And then if you click on the Edit Profile button up here, kind of towards the top right corner, you can edit some of these. All of the grayed out items that you see here on the screen, that is what has to be updated in the Mac Center profile. I do want to point out the agent MLS ID and the agent NARDS ID. If you see numbers in there, don't touch them. Everybody has a hidden agent ID that you never really know about. I can't tell you exactly where it comes from, but it does come somewhere from your MLS ID. So you should have your UP 388 or 399 and so on number there. I guess if people are from different boards here from Angola, I think it's like I don't know everybody's logins, but you'll see your normal number that you log into MLS with, and then you'll see, I think it's a 5 or 6 digit number there. If you see no numbers at all, this is where you can take some action. You'll want to click on the Look Up My Agent ID tab here, and then you can add in a previous or active listing that you have. This can be active or off market, and it should be able to find your information from there. If you've never had any listings and you're not sure what your listing or your MLS ID is, contact me after the training and we can figure that out together. The importance of this is connecting your listings to kvCORE. So in order to display your listings that you activate in MLS, bringing them over to remax.net or remax.com, that's where that takes place, is connecting these two IDs. So if that gives you any trouble, let me know, but most of you should already have that in there, especially if you have active listings. Just a couple other things in here. This is that from email section that I was talking about earlier. When you use your personal email right here, that's where you get marked as spam in a lot of people's emails. So I would just leave that one alone and let your Remax email stay. And then everything else in here is just kind of extra stuff. Now the About Me, that should be also filtering over from Mac Center. So if you see this blank, that is your bio. And if it's blank, you're gonna have the default Remax bio. And again, you can update that in Mac Center profile. Now, the only other thing I'm gonna touch on in this section is the signature section. If you have an email banner that you want to attach to your emails that you're sending out of kvCORE, you can add that photo here, or just type your name and your contact information. If you do not have a beautiful email banner like I do, I am happy to make one for you as well. So reach out to me if you would like to have a image that you can insert into all of your emails. And then once you have your signature ready, you can just toggle on, make sure include signature on all outgoing email, make sure that is blue, so that means it is active and running. Everything else you can add in extra down here, but that isn't super important unless you want it to be. So as I say, as long as you got a picture, a phone number, and an email banner, you're good to go. Oh, and your agent MLS ID as well. Any questions or problems with this section that you guys are seeing? Nope. Okay. I am gonna save my changes up at the top and then move on. Let me look at my notes and just make sure I'm not missing any information for you guys. Okay. All right, so gonna go back to the dashboard by clicking on this X up in the corner. One extra navigation piece I do want to make note of for you guys. The kvCORE menu can be a little confusing sometimes because there's so many tools. One thing that might make it a little bit easier is lately this menu has been defaulting to collapse itself. But if you look at these 3 lines here up by the search bar, you can actually click on those lines and it will expand the menu to show you the titles of all of these different sections of kvCORE. So that will really help with navigating the system. I am going to click into, I already talked about playbooks. So I'm going to go into the Smart CRM, which is, I wish they would just call this contacts. So the Smart CRM, it's smart because there's a lot of automation with it, but this is just where your contacts live. So you can click on Smart CRM. And then I'm going to go to my contacts just to show you guys some examples here. Maybe, here we go. Come on. Right now I'm seeing everybody's 59,000 contacts. Okay. Well, I'm still seeing some private leads, which I just want to make a note that I cannot see, as a company admin, I cannot see any of your contacts unless you share them with me. So I can see like basic details of when they came in, but if you guys are ever having trouble with an online lead, you will have to share it with me in order for me to take a look at it. So, let's see here. Something weird is going on with my contacts right now because I always have myself in here as the example contact and I don't see it. So just bear with me for a moment. Okay, that's weird. Well, let me use my search bar up at the top. Okay. All right, so all of those names that you guys just saw on my screen, if you click on any of the names, you will be able to open up to this screen that you're currently seeing. So all of your contacts, you can see at, a bird's eye view of all of the names. You can sort them different ways. You can select all to do email them all at once or export them. But individually, if you want to go in and work with an individual person, this is what you're going to see. So there's a lot going on this screen alone. So I'm just going to walk you through each section. You have your contact details here. So of course you got the name, phone number, email if they have it, address if they have it. And then you have the buyer or the client type. So that could be buyer, seller, renter. You can even have vendors in here or agents in here, depending on how you want to utilize this system. You'll see this hashtag section. This is another thing I wish they would rename. I would call this categories if it was up to me. This is just a way to organize your contacts. So if you want to organize them by how you met them, a specific type of client, maybe they're searching for homes with a pool. There's all different types of ways you could utilize these categories or hashtags. But ultimately just know whatever you put in the hashtag section, you can filter your contacts by that criteria. You can send your clients texts, emails by that criteria. So let's say I have a hashtag church, all the people I know from church, and I want to email all my church people. You can utilize that category that way. Lots of different ways that you can use that, but just know hashtags is a way to categorize people. The insight section, if this person came in from your website, you will see some insights as to their specific search criteria. Apparently I was searching for a $4 million property on this account. You'll see when they signed up, where exactly it came from, the source, all of that good stuff. And then depending on their activity, it may or may not have a star rating, just kind of showing you how active they are. They might be 5 stars if they're currently on there searching. They might be 1 star if they haven't visited in over 2 months. If you ever want to share a contact with me, you would just click this Make Contact Visible. And then if you are a team leader, you can also assign the contact to another team member. You can also, as an individual agent, share the contact with somebody else. And then somewhere in here, I think under more actions, yeah, you can transfer the lead to somebody else if you ever want to do that. So in addition to the client type, buyer, seller, renter, vendor, agent, you also have the client journey, where they are in their home buying journey, whether they're just in your sphere, somebody that you know that's never used you as a realtor, or someone that used you years and years ago that you just want to keep in contact with. Prospects, a potential lead that you might be communicating with, or that, someone that came in off of your website. New lead is going to be anyone that comes in off of your agent website. They will automatically be a new lead, and all the new leads automatically start getting communications from you that kvCORE built out with the smart campaigns. So I will talk about that next on how all of that works. But the statuses are very important because depending on what status they're in, if they're marked as a new lead, and maybe they're your best friend that already knows who you are, you want to make sure that your friend is sphere rather than new lead. So it's not asking them like, hey, are you searching for properties to buy, or are you just browsing right now? It's going to start sending them automated communications, which you can turn off and you can change if you would like to. Active lead is, someone that you're going to be actively searching for properties with, or currently have them under contract for listing their home. You could also use client for that status as well. And then under contract, you can do that once you have an accepted offer with them. And then of course the status closed. So each and every one of these statuses has a corresponding campaign that is associated with it. So for example, when you mark someone closed, you can make your smart campaigns so when you mark someone closed, it'll start sending them emails like every month or so for 1 year. And then you can switch them over to Sphere. So there's different campaigns for all of that. And I'll show you that here in a minute. But just know these statuses are important to have everybody in the right status. Down here you have your timeline. So the very, very bottom one is going to be when that lead first came in. This one I've been using for a lot of training, so there's probably a lot in here, but it's going to show the very first thing that they did, which was viewed this property and signed up on the website to view. So you'll be able to look at all of your communication, any notes that you've entered, any properties that they viewed or asked questions about. Every communication and activity from the client will be in this timeline. So that's always gonna have, logged information there, which is helpful for online leads. And then over here, you have your actions. So you can make a call from here. You can add a note, send an email, send a text. I do want to note when you send a text from your desktop, it will come from that smart number that I mentioned. Now, when they respond to you, you're going to get it back on your phone, but the smart number works as a middleman, kind of connecting the two of you with your own phone numbers. Now, if you have the kvCORE app, the mobile app, you can choose whether you want to text them from your smart number or your personal cell phone. So if you ever want to send a text directly out of kvCORE, I would grab your phone and do it from the app. And you know what? I just realized I didn't show you guys where to download that app. So let me make a note really quick once I get out of this section. I'm going to show you how to download that. kvCORE has their own app, but Remax has their branded version of the kvCORE app, which is what you guys will want to use. So there's a special link that you have to download it from. You can't just search in the App Store. So I need to show you guys where to get that link. All right, so adding tasks, you can add reminders for yourself in here. You know, maybe you just want to put a reminder in here for yourself to follow up with them in a week, whatever it may be. There's a couple different tool options in here, such as voicemail drop, where you can skip the ringing of their phone and just drop a message straight into their voicemail. There's also Core Video, which is associated with BombBomb. So if you want to utilize any video messages outside of just simply texting them a video, that's a nice feature as well. And then Core Present is a really, really cool tool that I'm not going to cover today, but I'm going to cover it next week in the advanced training. Core Present is the system that allows you to create CMAs very easily and create a very nice listing presentation for any potential sellers. That is a very, very powerful tool that I know you guys will love. More actions. I just want to point out a couple things in here. If you get a bogus lead, which does happen a lot, that's just the nature of online leads, you can come in here and either archive the lead or delete the contact. Depending on how the lead came in, if it came from the company and you just got it out of the random rotation, you won't be able to delete the contact because it's owned by the company. But you can for sure archive it, and quite frankly, there's not really a difference. It'll just sit invisible in your account unless you ever want to uncover your archive leads. So just know that you can get rid of people if you ever need to. You can also turn off behavioral alerts, unsubscribe them from text or emails. They have the ability to unsubscribe themselves, but some people just like to respond to you and say, stop contacting me. So if you ever run into that situation, you can come in here under more actions and unsubscribe them. I think that's it. Everything else is just kind of advanced stuff that we'll cover later on. And that is it for that. I know this is a lot of information. It's totally just information overload. And that's exactly how I felt when I was learning kvCORE. So it's just a matter of getting in there and playing around, which I highly suggest doing this homework. So that will really help you guys navigate this system. A couple other things I do want to mention down below here. Clients can set themselves up on search alerts just like they would on Zillow or you would for them in Paragon. With the collaboration center, that is possible to add a search alert in kvCORE, and it will bring them to your website to view those listings. So you can do this for them or they can do it on their own from your website. If they are a part of any of the smart campaigns, that's going to show here, and you can add campaigns and delete them. The market reports is something that I suggest to do for every single lead that you get. This is something that I'll cover in the advanced training, but I just want to mention that this is a super easy way to allow everybody in your database to be getting regular emails from you, whether it's every week, every month. It puts together a nice market report, just giving basic stats based on a city that you choose or a specific zip code or county. That is a really great kind of set it and forget it tool to dive into. We have Core Present here again. We'll talk about that later. An option to add a listing valuation email where they will just get regular monthly emails about the value of their home. And then you can connect seller reports that will give them analytics about traffic on your website regarding their active listing. Now it only reports the traffic from your website. I know kvCORE is in the works with Zillow to try to get Zillow data that will report to your sellers too. I think Zillow's being kind of tricky about that, so I don't have an ETA on when that will happen, but I will be sure to let you guys know because that would be super great for your sellers to see all the traffic that we know all pretty much comes from Zillow. So, all right, that was totally information overload. So do you guys have questions about the contact profile at all? And if you're totally confused, I completely understand that too. I know it's a lot. You'll see other tabs up here across the top, which I'll talk about those in the advanced training. But you can also add, I do want to mention, if you want to start working with your contacts right away, there is a section under profile details to add spouse information. So if you want to add the spouse to a file, you can do that. I would just caution you to let you know that when you add a spouse in the same file as your primary client, the only person that will get an email from you is the primary client. So honestly, I think best practice for spouses is to add them separate contacts, so that way they'll both get the communication. Unless it makes sense for the relationship for just the husband or wife, just one of them to get communication from you, then that would be fine to add them in the spouse section. Otherwise, I would add them as separate contacts. All right, so we went through the contact record. Let me just look at my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so as you guys can see, there's a lot that this system can do, and it's gonna take some practice to know how to navigate it. But I promise you, you will love this system once you learn how to navigate everything. It's very powerful, and honestly, you kind of just have to pick and choose what tools you want to use right away, because there's so much that I'm still even learning myself. You know, just all the little details, ins and outs of things. But it is a great system that I do highly recommend investing some time in to learn. I'm going to X out of this and jump back to the dashboard really quick by clicking on the X in the top left corner. I'm going to show you guys where to go to download the mobile app, because that is something that will be very helpful for you as you use this system. So you can just view leads on the go. It'll be much easier than trying to view it on your email when you get leads. So from your dashboard, there is this gray little download mobile app button. Again, I clicked on the X in the top right corner, or maybe you're seeing the full Max Tech logo. So just click on that to get to the dashboard, and then click on download mobile app. This is going to be able to send you a link straight to your phone to download the app. Now there's two apps. There's just the regular kvCORE mobile app, and there's also a open house app. The open house is fine for your phone, but I don't know that anyone is interested in using it on their phone. But if you have a tablet, you can download that and use it as a sign-in sheet for your open house. So it's a pretty cool system where they just sign in with their name, email, they answer the question, are you working with a real estate agent right now? And they can mark yes or no. And then once they submit it, they go into your database, and it will automatically send them an email after the open house saying, thank you for attending. You can change the message if you want to, but it's just a nice automated way to get people into your database. So you definitely don't have to use that app if you don't want to, but I do highly suggest downloading the regular Max Tech mobile app. So down here at the bottom, you'll see there's something for Apple phones and then something for Androids. And you would either, if you have an Apple phone, just click text me the iOS link, or Android, text me the Android link. And that will give you the direct link to download the Remax branded app, which is what you'll need. For the app, you'll just log in with the same criteria that you use to log into Mac Center. So your username is your remax.net email, and then whatever your password is should allow you to log in that way. And then when you get leads, whether a text or an email, you should be able to just click the link, and instead of it opening up to a browser like it would now, it'll just open up your app and bring you to that client. Okay. I'll give you guys a second to get that downloaded. If anyone has any questions at all, let me know. We can take a question break if we need to. Or maybe your brains are just spinning too much, and that's fine too.
Hannah, Phil, just so you know, somebody's out here. I'm here. And
Hi,
other
Phil.
and other people are too. But alarmingly enough, when I went in and was doing some of the things with you, my NERDS ID wasn't in there, and my agent ID, a 4-letter ID, which I have no idea where it came from or what it is,
Yeah.
was there. So
Oh.
I remember having put my NERDS ID one of the times when you were sitting beside me in the classroom downstairs.
Yeah.
I know they update things from time to time, so I guess my point is it's worth going back and looking, because sometimes apparently some of this disappears.
Okay. That
So
is interesting. Did it let you add it back in and
it
save it?
did. Yep,
Okay.
it did.
That's okay. Well, I'm gonna make a
Yeah,
note of that because that is interesting. Like
very
you
strange.
said, alarmingly enough.
Very strange, but it's me, Hannah, so you know.
Right. You never know.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's good to know though. I'm glad that I pointed that out then. Thank you for letting me know. All right. Any other questions at all? If not, I'm just gonna show you guys what the SMART campaigns are all about, how those work with the client statuses that I was talking about. And then we're going to look at a few things on your agent website. There's a couple settings that I want to have you guys change. And then that will be it for today, and you can rest your brains. Yes, Christina, I'm recording this session. And I will send this out as soon as I get the recording so you guys can rewatch, because I know there's a lot of information in here. Alrighty. So I am gonna open up my menu again by clicking those 3 little dots, and I am going to hover over the marketing section, and we're gonna look at the SMART campaigns. So this is where a lot of the automation from kvCORE comes from. So I'm going to use the example of the new lead buyer campaign, because for the most part, pretty much all of your online leads are going to be buyers. You'll get some sellers in there, but the majority of the people that come through are going to be your buyers. Now, there's all different kinds of campaigns, but again, the main one that's going to be communicating on your behalf is this default new lead buyer. So you can actually click into this, and you're going to see here, this is a series of different actions that kvCORE will either take on behalf of you, or it's going to remind you as the agent to take an action on this client. So when a brand new buyer lead comes into the system, whether it's a company lead that you accept or someone signed up on your personal agent website, they will come in as a new lead and be assigned this default new lead buyer campaign. So immediately it's going to prompt you. The number one thing first is a task reminding you to text the person. And then it's also going to say, hey, can you call them and leave a voicemail? So the first 2 things are just reminders for you to do that. However, 7 minutes after they are entered into the system, kvCORE will send a text. Let's see, does it show me the preview? I think because I'm an admin, it lets me edit. It's not gonna show me what this says. I know that it says something along the lines of, hey, thanks for visiting my website. I just wanted to check with you. Are you currently looking to buy a house right now, or are you just browsing? So we know a lot of online leads, they're just snooping around. They're a nosy neighbor looking at the listing down the street. They're just having fun looking at the beautiful homes on your website. So it kind of helps to weed out the people that are just browsing, and quite a few people do respond to that text and say, hey, I'm just browsing, or yes, I am looking to buy. This is what I'm looking for. So now you guys can change all of these, and you can adjust all these messages to say what you want to say. You can completely turn all of these campaigns off. However, kvCORE has been doing this for a long time, and they have built all of these campaigns to keep nurturing these leads for you and make it so these leads are more apt to transact with you. Now, as soon as the leads respond to you, so say you do get lucky and they respond to that first initial text about, are you just browsing right now, or are you looking to buy? They will switch to an active lead. Now, the active lead campaign is literally just a series of tasks for you every 7 days. Check in with this person, check in with this person, check in with this person. So it just lets you take over as the agent. As soon as they make their first communication with you, it stops contacting them. They leave it up to you. Now, again, you can change that and make your own campaigns where you're checking in and making automation for them. But just know that if they respond, it's not going to keep texting them these things that won't make sense once they contact you. If they don't respond, it's going to continue to send an email the next day. Then the next day, it's going to prompt you to call them. And day 2, it's going to ask them if they're an investor. And so you can see it goes on. So here you're going to see the timeline of things, the number of days. Then you're going to see what the type is, whether it's a task reminder for you, whether it's reminding you to call them, or it's texting or emailing them. Now, if you guys want to edit these and make it your own campaign, what you'll want to do is this middle section right here. There's an option to clone the campaign. So you can actually click clone, set your campaign logic, all the settings, rename the campaign, and then you can come in and you will see these edit buttons like I do. Right now, you guys probably see it say view, so you can view the messages. This will allow you to edit the messages and make it your own, or you can completely remove things as well. So if you're not a fan of the verbiage used in here, then you can just turn that campaign off, clone this one, and then make it your own. There's a lot that you can do with the smart campaigns. I do have a video in my bite-sized tips about it. And then kvCORE has a lot of good information on it too, as far as what all you can do with these campaigns. But for now, rest assured, it is built to communicate with your leads for you. And then once they respond, it'll stop. It'll just let you take over. Now I'm going to go back to all campaigns and show you the default active buyer. This is what I was talking about when they respond to you as a new lead. As you can see, this one is just filled with tasks, weekly check-in, weekly check-in, weekly check-in. So when they're active, it's not going to contact them, and it is all up to you guys at that point. Now, some of these campaigns that are in here are toggled off, and they are not going to run by default, but you can toggle them on. So like the default closed, I'm gonna go in here. So I personally, if I were you guys, I would clone this one and kind of change it up, because it doesn't ask for testimonials until day 120. which to me, I would immediately ask for a testimonial, but maybe there is some thought behind that, you know, they're settled into their house finally, the stress is gone from moving. So if you want to keep that in there, that's totally fine. You can just turn on the campaign, and then whoever you mark as closed will start getting an email on day 30. It'll remind you to call them, and just congratulate on the closing on day 33 and so on. So this goes for a whole year. And then on day 366, it's going to move them to the status sphere. So you can really, you know, narrow in how you want all of these campaigns to work. And if you don't like the idea of any of the automation, you can just toggle off all of these and make all of these blue buttons gray, and that will turn everything off. So that definitely is a possibility. I don't recommend that. I think it's good to have the automation on, but I do understand that, you know, for people who are more hands-on, if you want to contact your people yourself, you can definitely do that. Like I said, there's a lot you can do in this section. So if you guys want to jump in at a later date with me one-on-one, that's totally fine. I just want you guys to understand how they work with the corresponding buyer or seller, and then active, new, closed, and so on. You also have a whole other library up here at the top. Where you have a 1-year campaign for nurturing a buyer. There is actually, I just learned about this one the other day, this core sphere homeowner. If you want to add like people in your sphere that currently own homes, this is a year's worth of monthly emails that just gives like tips and tricks. Oh wait, where'd it go? Hold on. Maybe that's not what I was thinking of. Somewhere in here, there's a campaign. Default homeowner. Okay. I think it's glitching. This this campaign here is supposed to give a thing of all emails, but right now it's showing me the closed campaign that I was just showing you guys earlier. So I apologize. Something weird's happening. But all that to say, there's a lot of different things in here in the library that you can also add to your library to turn on that campaign. And then there's different email templates that you can use as well for email, text. You can make your own templates. I've even made some templates for you guys to use, but I'll get into that in the advanced training. All right. Any questions about the confusing smart campaigns? Like I said, I know it's a lot of information. I just want you guys to understand the capability of this system, and then the advanced training will dive deeper into each individual tool of what all it can do. All right, so the last thing I wanted to show you guys is the websites. And there's just a few things in there that I want to have you actually set up. So what we're going to do is from your menu, if you go to the web and IDX section and click on website manager. And then, as I say with every tool, there's a lot that you can do in here. I'm literally only going to show you 3 things. And then at a later date, you can come back and really edit your website, make it your own if you would like to. Let me switch to our company website so I don't make any changes on your guys' sites. Okay. So the first thing that I want to point out is right now, again, just in case anybody missed it, we're on the web and IDX section under website manager. And then I'm going to click this site content tab. Now, this is going to bring you into the testimonials section. Most of you if you have online reviews, you should be seeing them here because I try to get everybody's testimonials carried over through a third-party system called Testimonial Tree. Andy and Russ, I probably haven't done anything with yours yet. Russ, maybe. I don't know, Russ, I don't know if you have any online reviews at this time. Either way, Andy, I'm getting to yours, so you should see some reviews populate into there soon. And then if you guys feel like, hey, I have these online reviews that are not in this section, just email me and let me know. You can connect your Zillow reviews, but I have a system called Testimonial Tree that will gather all of your online reviews, Facebook, Google, Zillow, Realtor.com, and they will display on your RE/MAX website. So if you find that that is not happening, let me know and I will take care of that. The service areas and SEO here on the left, I just want to point that out. Whatever areas you enter here is going to be the areas that show up on your website. Let me think of a random person to show you as an example. We'll bring up Daryl. I don't even think Daryl's on here, is he? Okay. Christy. Maybe my Wi-Fi is just not working. Okay, here we go. So Christy's website, whatever areas you display in the section I'm about to show you is going to affect the just listed carousel here. It's gonna like feature properties in your service area. And then same with the open houses. And then down here at the bottom, areas we cover, it'll show all of the cities that you enter in this section. So I do want to point that out because if you have nothing here, it's just going to show the whole MLS. And so you're going to have properties displaying on your website that are like in Bloomington or like way southern Indiana that you know, if you get a lead, you could do a referral on it. But I know you guys want to display obviously areas that are relevant to where you serve. So service areas and SEO. Up here, this little tiny add button, this is where you'll type in your cities that you want to serve. And so you can add in all your service areas there. To the right, mine says remove all from this list. If you have nothing there, this button is going to say add all MLS areas. That's going to add in all of our MLS. So I would avoid clicking that button. Now this is something you guys, you can feel free to sit here and add stuff, but I do want to have you change one other thing. So if you can make a note for yourself to come back to this section, again, that is website manager and then clicking on site content and it's under the service areas. And I would just add cities. Okay. I am going to click back over to website manager. And then from here, click on edit settings. And this is where we can really get distracted because there's a lot of stuff in here. You can change the way your website looks. You can add different cover photos for your website. The background images, you can upload your own image. You can upload your logo. There's tons of customization that you can add in here and have fun with. So if you want to come back and play with all of that, definitely feel free to do that. There's just two things I want to mention in here, which is the listing carousels and then this listing section right here. So from this left-hand side navigation menu, I'm going to click down to listing carousels and you should see 3 options for listing carousels. Now, Christy has, I think, the default ones, which is my listings. So that is going to show any of your listings. If you don't have listings right now, it's going to change to our listings, which will show the listings inside of your office. Just listed is just gonna show recently listed homes in the service areas that you have. And then open houses is gonna show a list of open houses in your service areas. So you can change these if you want to. So I would obviously keep, yours should say my listings. It says ours on my screen because I'm on our company website. I would keep that the way it is. Now it's up to you guys for the last two carousels. You can choose an area. So if you click on area, you can make that be like show specific cities. So just listed in Fort Wayne, or just listed in Goshen, just listed in Warsaw. There's should be a whole slew of cities there depending on what you put in your service areas. So if you want to display an area, you can do that. You can display recently reduced homes, or just leave the default just listed or open houses in here. I just want to point that out, that you can adjust those to however you want. And then the last thing, this is an important one, the very last option here, listings. You want to make sure that any of the listing types that you want to serve are checked here. So for example, by default, I don't believe that it has commercial or land checked. And so if you were to list a commercial or land property, unless any of those options are checked, it will not display on your website. So you want to make sure that anything you want to display on your website, whether it's your listing or something that someone might be searching for, I would go ahead and mark that. I personally would just mark everything, but maybe you don't, if you don't want to get leads like on residential leases or commercial leases, you can leave those unchecked. We have everything checked for our company website, but definitely take a look and see what you want displaying or searchable on your website. Okay. So now is the time to rest your brains because that was all I had for you today. Now, I know that's a lot of information. Just to give you some direction, like I said, the handouts that I emailed you guys, if you did not get this in your email, you can email me at resultshannah@gmail.com or hannah.hahn@remax.net. So this, I recommend to import your contacts. This gives you a short little video tutorial of how to import them in bulk, as well as the link to download the CSV file template if you don't have them in a CSV already. Number two would be to take a look at the smart campaigns and decide if you just want to use the default campaigns that are already running for new leads, or if you want to personalize and change them. So I have an article in there for that. And then I did mention the market reports inside of the contacts. Now, this is something I'm gonna go over in the advanced training, but if you guys want to jump ahead and set up market reports for all of your people, that is a really good thing to do. Just like I said, as a set it and forget it tool. Otherwise, if you guys are super eager to jump in more, I do have my bite-sized tips linked. Those are all of the short little videos that talk about each and every feature that you can just skim through those and see what tools you might want to be using. I also linked instructional articles and then that Agent Quick Start course that I highly, highly recommend. So kvCORE has a lot, it does a lot for you, and I'm finding that most people just kind of have to pick and choose what they want to focus on and how they want to use it. So if you literally just want to use it to build up your website and display your website, you can, or if you want to get detailed in how you communicate with your people, you can definitely do that too. So thank you guys so much for hanging in there with me, and let me know what questions you have. I know you'll have questions, and if you get to a point where you feel like you just want to meet one-on-one with me, you can definitely do that too. So happy Friday, have a wonderful day, and hopefully I didn't scare you guys away, and I will see you next week for the advanced training. Have a great day, you guys.